Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Avatar fans, the reveal has finally come. Netflix's live-action Avatar is back in full swing again.
Oh, it's good to be back!
To think how far we've come since this channel began almost 2 years ago when I started covering the live-action show news and so much more. We've come a long way, and in the last year or so since Season 1 ended, it's been slower on how much content I'm able to make regarding what's been going on with the behind-the-scenes for Seasons 2 and 3 of the Netflix show, since both did film back-to-back and are ready to take us through into 2026 and 2027. It's good to be back into the swing of things here and to start covering this show more since we just got the first teaser trailer this morning, and so far, I think Season 2 is looking good with what we've been shown. We are going to break down this trailer and then go over some other information that many of you watching probably don't know yet regarding the production unless you've been subscribed to this channel. As we go through the breakdown, I want you all to leave a comment down below on what you are looking forward to the most for this season as it adapts Book 2 from the cartoon. Alright, enough yapping, let's actually get into this. So my first impressions of this trailer are that it's a teaser, a pretty simple and short teaser, revealing some important stuff while keeping other major aspects of Book 2 hidden until we get another trailer. For a 1 minute and 19-second teaser, it felt like 30 seconds. It flew by, and so I had to watch it multiple times in order to take everything in. For me, I think this was just enough for us to see for now. If the trailer hadn't showed Toph, I think that would have been disappointing, but since they also showed her in the official Season 2 poster, it felt right that you would also have to show her in the trailer. This poster is just okay, by the way. I didn't really take much from it other than it showing off our characters, as well as Gordon Cormier looking way taller than where he was a year ago. My god, man, that kid has grown. Anyways, moving on, let's run through this scene by scene because there is some really interesting stuff to point out here. First scene is showing off what is obvious to us hardcore fans, which is the Earth Rumble 6 as Toph is walking down the steps to enter into the arena. Now, I do want to point this out. The structure of this Earth Rumble 6 in the live-action adaptation does give off the feeling that it's not exactly an underground arena, like a giant arena in the cartoon, but more so like a smaller Fight Club type style of place to go to. It looks like it's going to feel tighter than the cartoon was, so that's just something to note when you look at this scene. Next shot is of the Serpent's Pass. So yes, for those of you who are wondering what episodes will be seen with the adaptation of Book 2, this is going to be one of them. They are going to keep intact this way of how our gang gets to Ba Sing Se in the first place while escorting a group of refugees trying to get there as well. And yes, I know you're all wondering, why is Appa there when he's not supposed to be? I think this is a strong indication that Appa's Lost Days is an episode from the cartoon that won't be adapted. I'd imagine that the reason why is because that would cost around $100 million in CGI just to put on screen, which acts as a limitation on how you translate animation to live action. Although, from what I've seen of the Netflix One Piece adaptation, they seem to not have any issue putting in large CGI characters, but again, that's just speculation on my part for why Appa is included in the Serpent's Pass and wasn't captured by the Sandbenders in the desert. The next shot is of Appa, Momo, and Teo, who is seemingly joining them on their journey as this still looks like the Serpent's Pass, and so this is another change that the Netflix adaptation is doing with who is included in the journey to get to Ba Sing Se. I don't personally have an issue with Teo joining unless there was a major ramification to him being there, which I don't believe there is. I love this next sequence right here. They are giving us Zuko training to bend lightning with Iroh. As you can see, Iroh does have his chest bandage on from when Azula hits him with her lightning, and so we will see that scene happen. And oh, would you look at that? They changed Zuko's scar with the way that it looks. For those who don't remember, one of Season 1's complaints was that Zuko's scar was on the wrong side. Sorry, I meant to say his scar didn't look all that much like a scar. It looked more like a bad bruise that had been there for longer than it should have. If you zoom in enough, you can see there are some indents on the skin to make it look like it was charred from the burn of the fire, which I like as a change to it. Netflix definitely listened to us on that detail, or at least the people in the makeup department did. Now, this scene here is, I want to say, when Toph is training Aang to earthbend. If you remember, there is a part in it where he does get blindfolded blindfolded. But again, that's all I can point to of what that is from. I have no idea what other scene this could possibly be from book 2. The next sequence is pretty epic, if you ask me, as again, it plays off from the first few shots in the beginning of the trailer, as we see that Aang is in fact being chased by the serpent itself from the Serpent's Pass as it jumps out to try and eat him. At first, no joke, I thought this was the Unagi from Kyoshi Island in book 1. That would have been a major change, but you can clearly tell it's not the Unagi, and it's the serpent based on the design of its head, comparing it to what it looks like in the animated cartoon. This next shot here is our one and only first reveal of Ba Sing Se in live action, as we see the Earth Kingdom Royal Palace. Down here in the bottom, you can see the city's train has stopped right in front of it, which is pretty neat. I don't think that was there in the cartoon, so that might be a new edition of the Royal Palace in how people can get there, at least in the live action show anyways. Now this right here is pretty major. So as you can see, they are adapting the chase episode from book 2, when Azula, Mei, and Ty Lee are hunting down the gang, and when we get to the end of the episode, all of our main characters come together, corner her in an abandoned town, and as you can see here, Azula still hits Iroh with her lightning, and Zuko tends to him while she goes back to fight everyone else. Again, I'm not exactly sure where this is gonna go, because once Iroh gets hit, everyone else hits her with a combined shot of all their bending, and the town explodes and she is able to escape. This scene gives me an idea that maybe this time around more is involved with that scene, but we don't know for sure until we get more information and footage to confirm. The next shot is another showing of the chase episode, and this time it's Mei and Ty Lee going up against Sokka and Suki. Once again, this is a change from the cartoon. Suki is now involved with this episode, and I think I know why. Instead of us seeing Suki for the first time with her Kyoshi warriors in Appa Lost Days, they are integrating her storyline in with the chase so that becomes the way in which she and her warriors are captured by Azula. This means that Serpent's Pass is going to take place before the chase in this adaptation, where it was the opposite in the cartoon. I know this might sound confusing, but trust me, once you think hard enough, you'll understand why. I think that this is Netflix's way of saying we are still going to make this show 8 episodes per season, and we need to change around the timeline of events to fit that. I know for a fact that most of you might not agree with that decision to do 8 episodes, and I know I certainly don't. I do think this show needs to have a minimum of 10 episodes per season, but that's a rant that you've heard enough from me already when I've mentioned it in other videos. Alright, the moment we've all been waiting for to talk about. You've all probably skipped right to this part of the video since it deserves to have its own separate breakdown, and that is with our first reveal of Maya Chek as Toph Beifong. This is a good first reveal. This is exactly the scene that we need to see from her. Maya looks fantastic as Toph. The look is great, and so far, based on her bending and abilities, I think they have it down well enough so far. The scene of her using her seismic sense is great. Netflix, thank you so much for adapting this ability of hers. You literally cannot do Toph without it. And as this final scene in the trailer shows, she is still kicking everyone's ass in the Earth Rumble 6. I don't know who this is right here that she is seemingly smushed into a ball of rock, but I have a feeling she's gonna do some nasty stuff to all the other competitors. She's doing her rock fists, which is pretty damn cool. I look forward to seeing those used. And if you'll indulge me, I want to go back to the seismic sense, because what I love about how it looks is, in live action, it reminds me of when you look at an X-ray. That's just what I got from it, but you all can certainly feel different about it. And again, I'm just glad that this is in the show, and I'm hoping it's executed well, because as we know, not everything can translate over to live action like how it looks in the animated format. They didn't show us Maya talking yet, but given the scenes I've seen of her from other stuff that she's acted in, I think she'll do a great job and give fans something to love with her playing one of the biggest fan favorites of any character in this show. So that's what I got from the trailer, and we also did get some first look images as well that have been posted online. This first image is an extension of some of those Serpent's Pass scenes in the trailer, but more of a closer look at the group on that journey as we see our main characters, Suki, the Kyoshi warriors, the refugees, and oh, would you look at that? Look who's behind Sokka. It's our main guy from the Nomad Hippie Band. So that means 2 different storylines from other episodes in the cartoon are combining into the Serpent's Pass with the chase and the Cave of Two Lovers. Yes, I know Suki was always there with the group, but the other Kyoshi warriors and the hippie group, they were not. Again, I don't know how I feel about all of this, but if the hippie band is going to be in the Serpent's Pass now, I certainly hope that they are playing tunes while everyone else is fighting that serpent. This next image is of Aang, Katara, Sokka, and Toph in what looks like either a train car in Ba Sing Se or the home that they stayed in while they're in the city. I can't quite tell what it is, but that's just my big assumption that this is a scene in the city. I like the detail of Toph looking down slightly while also everyone else is looking up. That's just a nice little touch to her being blind and not knowing where to look, just like how she did it in the cartoon. And speaking of a nice touch, this last image of just Toph as she's feeling the ground really spoke to me because, for those of you who didn't catch onto it yet, that's a real patch of grass and dirt right there. They shot this entire season on location for the majority of its shoot. Probably 95% of what you see on screen is real land and real sets. And to me, when we talk about making a change to improve upon something fans wanted from Season 1, it's this. You can see the real dirt on Toph's feet, and that's just a really neat detail with what we could see with the rest of the show moving forward. And that's basically sending us right into my final thoughts about all of this. The good and the bad are going to be weighed heavily with what the teaser is showing us and not showing at the same time. Just about everything I've seen is showing good signs of what's to come, and on top of that, I've been covering the production of this season sporadically with several videos over the year since Season 1 ended. They are in a playlist on the top corner of your screen for you to go check out. In them, I've talked about the changes to who will be writing the show, who will be directing, and how the production overall changed with the idea of it being shot on location as an example. All these stories have been covered by my good friend Caleb Williams at Night Edge Media, and I'll link his news site in the description for you to go read his stuff. There are things being addressed from the filmmakers that fans have mentioned since Season 1, and that gives me some hope for the quality to be better. Season 1, and I stand by this, was the most 7 out of 10 season of television I've ever seen. It was alright, and it didn't do anything that made me say that it was bad or great, just a pretty average season of television. With them finding some upgrades, like how they went and brought over a new slate of directors, including a major grab from a show like Shogun, which is one of the best TV shows of the last 10 years, and then to even go and promote a new showrunner in Christine Bolan, whose work she is most known for with shows like Cloak and Dagger, and then one of my personal favorites, Netflix's The Punisher, in which she co-executive produced all 26 episodes. They even shot this season in the exact same location as Shogun, which just makes it perfect given how beautiful that show looked on location. They made so many upgrades in the behind the scenes, and that also allowed for Season 2 to not have any production issues like Season 1, where they had to go and reshoot a lot of stuff for 6 months. Even with all that good stuff in mind, I still do have some other things to point out that I'm not the biggest fan of, and that's to do with the show's look. There is still that streaming service visual filter on it that I just wish wasn't there. It doesn't make the show look real, if that makes sense. It just makes it look like it has a gloss over it sometimes. On top of that, I do think that there could be some upgrades on the color grading. It does look a bit watered down, and there are way too many grays being used in some scenes, which might not make it great to look at. Those could really just be nitpicks at the end of the day, but I think it's important in how the show is going to end up looking by the time it comes out. And other than that, I have no other issues to point out as of right now. We are in full Netflix Avatar mode once again, like how we were years ago, so you can expect more videos coming soon as we get more information, images, and clips to break down. They are still not telling us when Season 2 will drop, but I would imagine it'll be sometime around March or April, very soon, right around the corner. I'm also willing to believe that, funny enough, this trailer released to coincide with the birthday of Uncle Iroh himself, Mako, the voice actor, as you see here on the main Avatar YouTube channel. But that's probably a stretch if I had to guess, but cool nonetheless. Happy birthday to the man himself who brought us an all-time great character. And with that being said, I'm going to end the video there. What do you all think about our first look at Season 2 from the trailer and the new images along with the other details I mentioned at the end? Drop a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. If you did enjoy the video and you want to see more, be sure to give it a like, and if you are new to this channel, subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Thank you all for stopping by Uncle Iroh's Tea Shop. I hope everyone here has a wonderful rest of the day, and I will see you all soon for the next video.